Adam, good morning.
Mark, good to see you.
Always good to see you. Today, we're going to get your read of Governor Healey's third State of the Commonwealth address from last night. And where would you like to start?
Why don't we talk about what she had to say about the state's progress when it comes to building the amount of homes that it needs to meet the demand that Massachusetts residents have for new housing. Let's take a listen to that.
Experts said that we had to build about 220,000 homes by 2035. I'm telling you right now, we're not just going to meet that, we're going to beat it. We have already, in 3 years, got 100,000 new homes going, built, permitted, or under construction, and more are on the way.
Wow, that's a big number, and it does.
It is a big
align.
number. I had not realized that we were on track to reach that 220,000 target by 2035. It's not often that you hear about government hitting targets that have been established by experts. I think of global warming, for example, and how we're nowhere near cutting emissions in the manner that we're supposed to be. This, it's worth noting, was part of this very heavy focus on affordability that Healey had throughout her speech. And that's no surprise. She, in pretty much every public appearance that I've heard her make in the last 2 years, has talked about, maybe 3 years, has talked about wanting to drive down affordability for the residents of Massachusetts, how that's her top priority. We talked last week about how Elizabeth Warren thinks that's the recipe for Democrats to win in the midterm elections. Healey, I think, clearly is of like mind with Warren. One caveat, though, that I would append to this talk of new construction, sometimes people talk about it bringing the cost of housing down. I think I've heard the governor say that. I think a more realistic prediction is that it will keep the cost of housing from going up as much as it has been going up if we reach that target.
And we're in a terrible affordability crunch when it comes to housing. So
gargantuan affordability crunch.
So you're saying you don't expect. It's nice to have all these units. It's more than nice to have all these units, but you don't expect it to be moving the needle on the affordability of housing.
Well, I guess it depends on how you define affordability, right? Does it keep costs from rising as much as they would otherwise? Then in that case, that's affordability. I just don't think it's necessarily going to depress costs.
Right. And she talked about traffic?
Yeah, this was, to me, one of the more striking speeches. It kind of made my ears prick up a little bit. It seemed to me like she was maybe getting out over her skis a little bit in promising to make the bad traffic that characterizes the Boston area and Massachusetts better, because I think that's a really tough thing to do. But let's listen to how she said she was going to approach it.
And then there's traffic, okay? I'm sick of it. We're all sick of it. We sit on 93, 128, the Pike. Sometimes we drive miles around somewhere because a local bridge is closed and has been closed for 10 years. We fixed the slow zones on the T. We can fix these pinch points that cause congestion on our highways. I'm committed to that. Now, imagine the time back we'll get in our lives.
It's a beguiling vision for sure. I hate traffic just as much as the governor does. I expect you do as well. The problem with making the roadways clearer is that when driving becomes more appealing, more people start to drive, and you're stuck again with the same bad traffic that you had tried to alleviate. That's what happened with the Big Dig. I remember how the Big Dig had transformed my commute from the North Shore to very, very brief. It was like 40 minutes for me to get from pretty far away into work here at WGBH. And now it's back up to an hour on a good day. And that's because, again, when driving becomes more appealing, more people start to drive. And I also don't know if the governor, good for her for trying. I just think it's going to be a little harder to attain what she's talking about than she may be let on.
Now, one thing I want to talk about with you, because this has come up before, any intimations of her perhaps aiming at the White House in this speech?
I came away from this speech thinking it was a little more likely. I've suggested before that a presidential run might be in her future. This speech left me thinking it was a little more likely than I had going in part because her jibes at the Trump administration were more numerous and sharper than I am used to hearing. I'm used to hearing her talk again, as I mentioned a moment ago, all about driving down costs for people in Massachusetts. That's what she wants to talk about. But there were some barbs shot Trump's way in the speech yesterday that jumped out, including one that I think is sort of ready-made for the campaign trail if she wants to go national. Let's take a listen.
We have a president who throws temper tantrums like a 2-year-old. No disrespect to 2-year-olds. He's driving up costs and prices with tariffs. He's cutting trillions of dollars out of health care, and Congress can't seem to do anything.
That last line, too, Congress can't seem to do anything. To me, that is the sort of pitch that presidential candidates make. They don't just rail against one party. She didn't say Republicans in Congress won't let Democrats do anything. It was Washington can't do anything, Congress can't do anything, which is a pitch tailor-made to appeal to independents, who are, of course, the group that every presidential candidate most wants to appeal to. So to me, that was another sign that presidential campaign's on her mind.
Sounds a little reminiscent of "It's broken, I can fix it."
A little bit,
or maybe in the offing as we look forward, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, sir, I wouldn't argue with you there.
Okay, I appreciate you not arguing.
I'm happy to if I disagree with you. By the way,
good.
while we're talking about things that sounded like they might be trial runs for a presidential speech, she also really leaned into Massachusetts exceptionalism, which is natural to do as we're coming up on the 250th anniversary of 1776. And Massachusetts, of course, plays an outside role in that story. But listen to her rhetoric around Massachusetts showing the way for the rest of the nation.
So once again, let it begin in Massachusetts. Let's kindle those sparks of patriotic fire. Let's light the beacon and show the way forward.
I do not think of Healey as generally given to soaring rhetoric. That's as soaring as I can remember hearing her.
And there was something in here about it getting worse before it gets better.
She ended on a cryptic note. Let's take a listen and we'll see if we can figure out together what she was talking about, Mark.
Because the year ahead is going to bring challenges, no doubt. It may get worse before it gets better. Okay? I'm being honest with you. But we will stand strong.
So I'm still trying to figure out what she meant there because she didn't make it clear. Is she talking about affordability linked to Trump tariffs? Is she talking about an ice surge in Massachusetts on the level of what we've seen in Minnesota? I'm not entirely clear. Is she trying to tamp down expectations of utility rate hikes, which she has indicated she's trying to alleviate those going up before people decide whether they're going to elect her to another term or not. It could mean any one of a number of things.
We will find out as time goes on, I guess.